go to this one. Okay, there we go. And here we go, the game. Fair enough. Excellent. So, Aloka. No, let's start with Hald. Hald is first in the matchup. So, ST Shiru. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Very interesting matchup. I do love ST Shiru decks. Scoia'tael, Precision Strike. Traditionally, we do see some Brockilon Sentinels running with this leader because they're kind of free thinning, and a lot of the times people play very aggressively with this, so they just go all in with the leader in round one. This deck doesn't have that thinning option, but it does run quite a few other options, including Matok and Bombs. Saskia, which is an amazing thinning engine if you're able to have it in hand when you actually need it, and it's very, very good in round one. Oh, there's a meal. No, I'm up, jumping on in 2 minutes. Excellent. So we have our host here. I'm going to continue with this until she's here. And what else do I want to tell her? Okay. There we go. Oh, no, not this. That's for work. Getting paid to play Gwent. Hey, that's how things should be. Crosano versus Aloka? No, it's Hald versus Aloka. Crosano already won, man. That's gonna be banned. Don't look at it. Hey, I just have to talk about it, you know, for a bit. Did you? Was that? Oh, yes. Have you done the bans with Aloka? Do you have the coin? I want to know the coin basically, so I can set up the client and have it ready for you. Going to do right now. Okay. Okay, bro. Thank you very much. Just send me a text on the Discord channel and I'll say it. So yeah, Saskia Commander, an amazing card to have in round one, especially. It basically helps in thinning your deck as well as getting some nice bronzes on board. And the Scoia'tael bronzes here are very, very good. Cat Witcher, Dryad Matron. You manage to get these out early, they're gonna do some difference. I would expect to see a few more bronzes here, but I guess, yeah, deck has to be weird because it's a meme deck. We have Forest Protector for the additional Nature's Rebuke or Circle of Life, and that plays for quite some value. Tree's Telekinesis, of course. Call of the Forest, our kind of royalty free option here, but it's just, you know, it's a nature card and a Scoia'tael card. Picks up one Scoia'tael unit from anything you might need. It's very, very good with Shiru because it can kind of set up Shiru when you actually just go in and you want to have like Shiru in play. You have, your opponent has like 4 power units, your Shiru is free. Call of the Forest immediately place Shiru into 4, so you can use it just when you drop it on board. And remember, Shiru has Zeal, so the moment you drop him, he's there to go. The same goes for Isengumi's Council, another option here that can basically play Shiru into a 5 power unit on board, so you can just immediately target 5p units. Again, remember that Precision Strike here can be used in a very, very sneaky way, both offensively and defensively, to set up your targets in order to make the Shiru actually more, you know, efficient. Hold on, let me find this for a meal. Help her prepare a little bit. Okay. fast typer. Excellent. So yeah, in general, we have a few good thinning options. We have Madoc as well, which is amazing. It's an amazing card in this type of tournaments. You have a lot of ways to trigger that carryover value that Madoc has with quite a few bombs, the Meritium bomb, Dancing Star, making a bomb. You're gonna get some value from that, and of course a random Dwarf Berserker there. This has very quickly became a very nice bronze card, especially after dwarves received their buffs a couple of patches ago. So all in all, this is a very nice deck. Like Hald said, there is a good chance that Aloka might ban this because it's very flexible and dangerous deck. Meal. Okay, there we go. So hold on, let's copy it. Let me give her a phone call. And let me just, can I mute this game voice chat? Yeah, let me mute the voice chat for a bit. Hello, can you hear me? Emil? Oh, don't tell me it's not working again. It's doing that thing again when it... okay. If you can hear me, let's just go to your channel and let's do it there. And your VC. It's the same thing, basically. It's okay. Because it worked in VC. Yeah, I don't know why this is happening. In all honesty, I don't. Okay, let's go to your VC. See you there in a bit. Oh, there we go. Yes, can you hear me now? Is it still connecting? Oh, damn it. Bogus chat Discord. Okay, guys, hold on a second. It says connected. Let's go to your VC. Let's go to your VC. Very weird. Oh, come on. Yes? Oh, now I can hear you. Now I can hear you. Oh, so it was your fault. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me just lower just a little bit your voice because I have it on full. Okay, speak now. Okay, I can hear you. Good morning, my dear. Your voice is still not on stream. I'm gonna put it on stream now, and then I'm gonna put your video. Okay, people can hear you.
Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing today?
It was a very long day since the last time we talked, my dear, in all honesty. I'll talk to you about it later. Let me just do the... Let me just do the video. Where is the video now? Not alerts. Camera... No. Where did I have the video link? There it is. God damn it.
You need me to send you the link again?
No, the link is okay. I just need to find it on my OBS. So basically, here we go. Let's see. Emil, pop up Emil. There she is. As lovely and beautiful as ever. Good evening, my dear, officially. Let me share...
there it is.
Yeah, let me share my screen with you so you don't have any delays.
Perfect.
Yep, this one. Screen, right? No, not applications. Let me do screens. Yes, this is what I want. Good. Excellent. So now you should be okay looking at this. Whatever I'm doing, you should be looking at the Gwen client. Excellent.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so let me just update the guys here. I need to go first. Okay, Hal goes first. Okay, Um, Let me give you Syndicate Townsfolk. So I'm gonna leave the screen here while I type everything and organize here. You can just talk a bit for in the deck for me.
Okay, which syndicate list do we have today?
This is Townsfolk for Hald.
Townsfolk for Hald. So the goal of this deck is obviously to make many copies of Townsfolk as possible. This is a meme tournament, so we are doing some meme things such as copying as many units as possible. And if you don't know Townsfolk, it is a card that boosts itself every time you gain coins. So if you have a lot of these on the board, that plays for a lot of points. That is if they are able to stick on the board. We do have powerful cards such as Professor, Jacques, which is an evolving card. We know that it will evolve. If you are Devotion, it will have the third form, but in this case, this deck is not Devotion. We do have the Royal Decree there. We see the Royal Decree in here. Normally, Syndicate will just play Bank, but you know, more often than not, sometimes Bank is not the most reliable consistency tool. So we do have Royal Decree included here as well. Igor is there just to make that extra copy of the Townsfolk. MK as well. If you play her on the range route, she will be gaining you coins, 2 coins per turn. So if you think about the Townsfolk that we were talking about a little bit earlier, this is good synergy with Townsfolk. And if you have a lot of these folks on the board, then you will be getting a lot of points and coins. So it is an unstoppable force. That is, if MK gets answered. Good thing about MK is that she is able to put a shield on herself. So she can have that little extra protection. Maybe a little bit hard to remove it from the game. We also have Triss Butterflies as well. Good consistency tool. Triss did get a buff recently, so we have been seeing her included in a lot of decks of late. She draws any card from your deck, and she will also boost that card by 3. So very, very useful card here. Flying Redanian, it's just a card that will pop out. It doesn't ever leave the game unless it gets banished. But even if it's in the graveyard, if you meet this horde condition, then he will be coming out of the graveyard or your deck and be on the board. So it's a ghost ship that will just follow you everywhere. We have Idoran here as well. He is the guy that will be copying as many Townsfolk as possible. He will be spawning them as a 1 power unit, and they will have Doomed. But if you are able to spawn, he will be copying the Townsfolk if you are able to spawn a Townsfolk in that same turn. Ludovicus, he gains you coins, but he does have to stick on the board, or you can pay his tribute and he will gain you 9 coins. But if you're able to stick him for at least 3 turns, he will be getting you all the coins that you need. And again, good synergy with Townsfolk. Casino Bouncers, Sewer Raiders, just for that extra thinning. Then we have a couple of bronzes here. The ever so broken Shady Vendor. This has been a very, very flexible card and is pretty much auto-include a lot of Syndicate decks. It has the ability to be played on melee or range, giving you some options for different spawn cards. And then we have Tax Collector, who will be giving you 1 coin per turn. Again, very good synergy with Townsfolk. And Sea Jackal, just to have that extra spender. And then we have the Eternal Fire Disciple.
That was amazing.
Really?
That was amazing. Good job there. Because the players are ready, let's just go through all of the decks a bit quickly. Can you do the next one for me? It's a deck that you already know. I think you already play with this. It's
sure,
NG
I will talk
Viper.
I will talk as quickly as possible. So NG Viper, again, we are trying to make as many copies as possible. The goal is to have as many Vipers in your graveyard as possible, and they will come out. And if you can purify them, you'll be able to replay them. Again, Iran is there to make the extra copies. You have Coup de Grace to make the copy once you put it on your opponent's side of the board. So the goal is to put it in your graveyard when you first start the game, and it'll pop out on the opponent's side. Cataverine, same, and using the leader there as well. So Viper, goal, try to make as many copies as possible. So there is a little bit of a theme going on here for Hold.
Oh, definitely he has. This is a very good deck, and I've seen you play it, and let me tell you, I wasn't expecting that this deck actually has points. So it was great to see that even without the Vipers, even without making a lot of Vipers, you can actually do some things. There are options there that can be really, really nice in any matchup, in all honesty. Okay, so these were the decks for Hald. Let's go quickly with Aloka. Aloka has MO Double Guernicora, SK Iteran Veterans, and Masters 6 Maddox. Yeah, go.
Double Guernicora, I did cast this match yesterday. One of the players, I believe it was Jace360, who actually played Double Guernicora. So, as the name suggests, we are trying to get Double Guernicora, possibly even a third one. And you can replay this with Witch's Sabbath. Now, the only thing to watch out for in this deck, as we saw with Jace360's match, is that when you do pull out the Guernicora, she has transformed. So if there are no fruits, she actually won't be boosting herself. So you need to be careful that when you do play Witch's Sabbath, you don't have Sabbath yet. I know it doesn't make sense, but you need to make sure that you don't have 25 points on the board on one row. You want her to transform back to Bloody Mistress, and then she will transform back to Guernicora, spawning the fruits. Otherwise, without the fruits, she's basically a 7-point body. So that is just one thing to watch out for. But again, a deck that is a meme, and you'll need to copy as many copies as possible of Guernicora. And you can do this with Arrakis Queen. You can also use the stratagem. So I imagine this deck would be taken on blue just to get that extra Death Wish. And you also have the Abaya to proc that as well. And then you also have your leader. So yeah, you can make 3 copies if you can.
This is a deck that doesn't have too much control. Very, very basic forms of control, but the whole point is not the control, it's the engines. Like you said perfectly, it's a deck that can make a lot of points if you treat it properly. The next one is SK Iteran Veterans. I know this deck. This was made by Escambray from Team Banding Gang. Have you seen this before, Emil?
I have not, but the Reckless Flurry with the Witches is, especially with that Carol Axie in the Small Totem, is giving me 2021 vibes for sure. Again, we see the Iteran there because we are trying to make as many copies as possible of the veterans. If you don't know what the veteran is, he does have a condition where if he is at Berserk 3, he heals himself back up to 8. So basically, if Iteran is copying a 1-unit power body on the board, he will automatically boost himself up to 8. So this can be very dicey. If the opponent cannot answer the Iteran, you will be seeing 8-point bodies on the board. So opponent has to be very, very careful here.
Exactly, and this is also a deck that has quite good control options and thinning options. You've got the portal there for getting those Bear Witcher Adepts out, which is a very, very nice tempo play. You've got Vigo's Muzzle, try to steal something, a very important unit from your opponent, or a very dangerous engine, something. You've got Purify with Axie, you've got Quen to get something from a Witcher from your deck when you want it. If you play it with Adrenaline, also gets a shield to get that extra protection. Usually this is used with cards like a Bear Witcher, so you don't get that extra damage on the Bear Witcher. This is all in all is a good deck with some very, very nice forms of control and some good tempo plays. Next deck is MO6 Maddox. A tricky deck to play, and as we saw from Danny Rai, if played properly, it can be a devastating deck. What do you think about this?
6 Maddox. I actually have not seen this in play, so I am pretty keen to see how this actually goes. Sounds like it's a bit of a meme, but obviously, again, we have Arrakis Queen there. She does the work with copying. She consumes a unit, and then when you fulfill her Death Wish, she will spawn that unit that she has eaten. So we will be using that. Again, we had the stratagem Urn of Shadows to get that extra Death Wish. Once you click that, you will get the extra Death Wish on that Arrakis Queen. Then you can also get another Death Wish from the leader Overwhelming Hunger. And I imagine that Abaya is played in this list. Yes, I'm correct. Abaya will trigger that additional Death Wish. So we also have Johnny. The reason Johnny's included in this deck is because we play so many specials, including with all the bombs, to have that synergy with the 6 Maddox. Johnny is a machine gun. He will damage a random enemy unit by 2 every time a special is played. So if he sticks on the board, it can be a powerful engine as well.
I remember there was a time that Johnny and Sarah were actually played in a lot of Scoia'tael and Syndicate decks because of the nature and crime cards, and they do have a lot of nature and crime cards, those specific archetypes, and having them both on board, it was just a pleasure to watch them go on and just go 2 points of damage, 2 points of boost. It was really amazing to watch, and I love Johnny's inclusion here. All in all, if you manage to get those Maddox running with a couple of ancient folkless on board, this deck is just so good. So before we do anything else, these are the decks. Let me just start the tournament before my competitors here are actually pissed off at me. Let me do this very quickly. We start the tournament. I need to also edit this and give Hald the coin flip. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so let's get into the client right here and wait for everything to magically start happening. How do you feel now you looked at the decks? How do you feel? Who do you think that has the upper hand here in terms of strategically choosing the decks? They haven't shown me which decks they banned, so I don't know. We're gonna see now. What do you think will be the best here for Aloka and Hald to do?
I mean, both of them have decks that are, I would say, the definition of a meme. We are trying to make many copies as possible, centered around a certain card. I imagine that the players would want to ban decks that may have some form of control against them because they are trying to execute some sort of strategy. And if you answer certain key cards, that strategy does fall apart. So I imagine that something like Reckless Flurry might be banned. It has the veterans, which can be scary. So I imagine a deck like that may be banned, but we'll have to wait and see what the players actually ban. I mean, sometimes you think a player will ban, a tier 1 deck and you end up actually banning tier 2 decks. In my case, I've actually banned tier 2 decks in the last 2 rounds that I've played. So it just really depends on your personal preference and what you feel most comfortable with.
Okay, excellent. And the invitations are out. The invitations. Oh, sorry. Actually, they sent the list. So, okay, hold on. No, Aloka. Aloka had the 6 Maddox banned. So she has.
That is understandable.
Yeah, she will have the Iteran, Veterans, and the Gurnikora deck, and Hald will be going on with Syndicate and Nilfgaard. Okay.
All right, so we begin. This is round 2 of Casino Gwent Cup.
One of the last games.
Both players trying to fight for a spot in round 3. We see Hald here on blue coin, taking the Viper deck on blue. Now, the reason they've taken this on blue is because you need that curse scroll. You need to find your key cards here in your opening hand. We have some here, so we do have the Iteran, we do have Matahuri, and we also have the Defender. And there it goes. It's there to protect the cards. We want to make as many copies of the Viper as possible, and the curse scroll is used so that you can put the Viper in the graveyard ASAP. Question is, how will Aloka respond? There are a couple of options here. Does go for the Reckless Flurry and instantly muzzles that Defender. So Defender gone. That Iteran is looking a little dicey. There is a Gigascope decoction on the other side of the board for Aloka.
That was a very, very important muzzle. You need that Defender out of the way so you can try to control those Vipers, right? And they can be so dangerous. Whenever that Viper is spawned on board, it's another problem for Aloka to deal with. because once they go into her graveyard, they're gonna start coming back. There's no coming back from that play.
You also have to realize here that once the Viper, I imagine Hold is wanting to put the Viper in the graveyard, it'll appear on Aloka's side, but there is the defender on the board. So if the Viper does appear on the melee row, they won't be able to copy the Viper at all with using the leader, the Letho, so it can be a little tricky here.
Oh, and
Steals the defender back with the muzzle.
okay.
We did see the muzzle being drawn by Matahuri, so Hald is saying, no, I want that defender back. I need that defender.
It makes sense. That defender is always important. One of the few decks that actually have defenders in our meme pool list, because most defenders in most decks were just banned because we felt like they make that deck a little bit too safe to play. So a very important defender that just keeps going left and right here. But there's the Axie, an early Axie to purify the defender.
Yeah, we see the Geralt Quen coming down early, and normally it does get played a little bit later into the round because of its adrenaline condition, putting a shield on it. But Aloka doesn't have time. Aloka needs to get that defender purified because it wants to actually start getting rid of the Edoran, trying to deny the value, and we are 3 cards in, and Hald hasn't managed to copy any Vipers yet, so it'll be interesting to see how many copies Hald will be able to copy. Sorry, Vipers they'll be able to copy.
Yeah, the Vipers just have to go very, very, very fast on board as soon as possible. There's even some players who just go quite a few cards down if their opponent passes very early, just to have those Vipers being copied again and again and again. But still, this is getting very late for Hald though.
The reason that it's becoming late is that there are some cards already in the graveyard for Hald, so that Viper hasn't come out yet. It needs to banish a card per turn before it actually comes out onto the opponent's board. So, but we are getting later into the round. We have not seen any copies yet. I imagine this is going to be a very difficult task for Hald as well, to get the Vipers to actually stick as well. We do have some 2 leader charges left with Aloka for that Reckless Flurry, so it is looking like a tricky situation here for Hald.
Oh, we have an Edoran dropping on board. And there's the Viper going out.
Yeah, unfortunately that Edoran is not going to be sticking on the board, and we see it right there, the decoction coming straight down, denying the Edoran value. It's looking like Hald has to use their leader charge to make a copy as soon as possible. We might be seeing maybe 2-3 Vipers here. That's still a lot of carryover. That is still 21 points, but we got to be very careful here because we are on blue coin. We are a little bit behind, so there may be the potential of going a couple of cards down here.
Well, Damien is on board, and from the looks of it, Aloka will not have a way of actually dealing with that Damien before it's actually able to... Oh! Yeah, okay.
It won't be... Yeah.
It was a good try. It was a good try, but it was a very, very brave try. Hald will be able to use a leader again. He does have Letho there, so he can definitely get at least another one, and probably he can use Cadaverine from... no, not Cadaverine. He can probably use Royal Decree to get something from his deck and recopy Viper one more time.
Yeah, unfortunately, there is no way for Hald to access these specials such as Coup de Grace, Cadaverine from the deck. So unfortunately, that is not an option.
Oh, okay.
But he may be able to use the Letho here to get the extra copy, and that will still be 21 points of carryover. So not bad considering there's a lot of control in this list from Aloka.
But he did choose here to go with Damien instead of going directly for the Viper.
Yeah, I imagine I would have probably gone for the Letho, but it's not a bad choice. You do able to play the Damien. It is extra points, so you do get a 5-point body, and then you can click, and then you get the extra 9-point Viper here. So not the worst play, but I can see why some people would just go straight for the Letho because you do have to wait one turn before you can click on the Damien. So we will be seeing Hald going down 2 cards, which is not the worst thing for a Viper deck because you do have some carryover. So we'll just have to wait and see if Hald will continue to play in the next round.
I wonder how he can get the cadaver in.
I forgot there was a
Okay.
Roderick in there. So we do have 4 copies of the Viper. We ended up getting there. We were a bit worried that no Vipers were going to stick on the board, but we did end up getting 4 copies of Viper.
That was a good play. That was a good play. But now the real question is, how many cards in Aloka's graveyard? 15. 4 of them are going to be Vipers. About 3 turns?
I imagine that Hald is looking for the Siegfried here. He doesn't find it, but he may be able to draw it with the fur cut. He also has the Spring Equinox, so if some of the Vipers do come out on the road, we can purify them, but ideally you do want the Siegfried just so you could purify all of those units and then you can get them back for round 3. I think that we're trying to fish for the Siegfried here. Down comes the fur cut and onto the Joust. Denying of that Bear Abomination, that card, when it's damaged, transforms into a 6-point body, so that is denied. But he does not draw the Siegfried, unfortunately.
Well, let's see where those Vipers will land on the rows. If he's lucky enough and he gets all 4 of them in one row, that might be something, but I think 2 more turns before we see those Vipers coming out, so that's gonna be interesting. And what is he doing here? He's deciding...
So I believe they played Diplo into here, and they did draw a Scold, but still not able to fish for the Siegfried that we are desperately looking for. So unfortunately, no Purify for Hald, but they do have the Spring Equinox, so you just hope a lot of the Vipers will appear on the same row. Down comes the Eaterer now, and it's Aloka's turn now to make copies of the veteran, but there actually are no veterans in Aloka's hand, so he is not able to make those copies.
I would expect that the Porter will probably come down early in this round just to be able to prepare accordingly for whatever those Vipers will bring on Hald's board. But that Portal stayed in hand, which is kind of peculiar.
Yeah, unfortunately, you do see the Vipers there going on melee and range. You would have hoped that they would have gone all on one row, but alas, they did split it up here. But I think 2 copies to carry over is better than nothing. So.
Oh, definitely. And I think the Juno here will make it. The Juno here will make it. 50% successful Hald. 2 Vipers are still gonna be coming on board. Hopefully soon enough for Hald in order for him to be able to get that value. But Aloka is a card up.
There comes the Siegfried, but it is a little bit too late. I imagine that the Coup de Grace won't be useful here, so does take the mulligan here. Not much left in the deck for Hald though, unfortunately. So does have 14 points of carryover, so we do have to remember that. There is a Trist there, so Trist is played because there are some very tall units in this deck for Aloka, so it is a good control tool as well.
I think Aloka here does have the upper hand. Let's see if that Mega Scope will get that extra value from Bear there. I do feel like when those Vipers just drop on the board, they're not gonna be enough.
Yeah, you have to also remember too, there are 2 leader charges left for Aloka, so that is 6 points of damage. So it's looking like it will be a win for Aloka here, but we'll have to wait and see. I imagine that because these Skeletor units just play for a lot of points, they are pretty tall here. That Bear Witcher, it's got its adrenaline switch on, ready to go, and it is going to damage itself by 3, but also an opponent by 3.
Oh. Oh my god.
Unfortunately, I don't think those Vipers will be coming out. It did not banish enough cards in time, so looks like this game will be won by Aloka. Unfortunately, 4 Vipers just weren't enough for Nilfgaard today. There he goes with the last leader charge. There's nothing left. Oh, the Vipers do come out. It was ended up being pretty close. 60 to 14. Aloka takes game number 1. So we will be going to game number 2.
Fun fact, if those Vipers didn't split themselves 50-50 into both rows,
Yeah.
it was 3-1, it would be a win for Hald.
That's why I was saying you want those Vipers to come out in the same row. And it was very unfortunate that they didn't.
That was a complete RNG decision there. The game decided otherwise, luck decided otherwise for Hulk. It would be very, very funny if he actually got at least 3 there. But hey, it was a good try for me.
Very good try, and also I'm not able to draw the Siegfried at all. We did see Hald try to fish for it so many times, even creating, you know, a scold from the Diplo just to try and find that Siegfried. But no, he was way below down the deck, and unfortunately, sometimes you just don't draw your cards. And I believe Hald did the best that they could with the Spring Equinox that they had. If they didn't even have the Spring Equinox, it would have even been even trickier because you wouldn't be able to purify the Vipers at all.
Yeah, that extra high.
But well,
yeah, go on.
well played from Aloka though. Reckless Flurry would not be easy against Imposter.
Okay, and we have the Viper deck again against the Gurney Korak deck. Now, this is going to be interesting as well.
Yeah, I find that quite interesting too because as I've mentioned before, you do want the Curse Scroll on blue. Try to find the Viper, and as you can see here, there is no Viper in hand, and you can't actually play the card. It has to be discarded.
Exactly. So, a weird choice here for Hald, but I do feel that he might feel that against Gurney Korak might be very, very good, because keep in mind that the Viper, a lot of Vipers can eat up your opponent's graveyard very fast, and this deck runs a Sabbath, and it does need to have its graveyard intact. Unfortunately for Hald, he didn't get that Viper, so well, let's hope that he finds a way to find it. He does have Roderick there, so maybe.
Yeah, I can't see the deck unfortunately, but I imagine that you wouldn't want to play your Roderick because you don't want to play the card, you actually want to discard that card, so it comes out on your opponent's side of the board. And no, the Manahiri draws the Damien. Damien is an 11 provision unit, so is the tallest provision in the deck, so we do know that Mata will be drawing that. Now, unfortunately, Hald has not drawn Viper here, and that's the card they are looking for.
Yeah, he might get that Royal Decree though, and the Royal Decree, well, no, he still has to play that, so yeah, it will be very, very difficult for him to actually just find the Viper now. Okay, so let's see how he deals with that then.
Aloka here is not even going to care about what's happening on Hald's side of the board. It's one of those decks where you just watch your opponent play cards and you're like, I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm going to make as many copies as possible of the Gurney Korak. I believe that the Gurney Korak can be drawn with the Matahuri. Unfortunately, I can't see the deck. I don't have the Gwent Observer through this client here.
I can show you. Can show you very quickly.
We do see Gurney Korak, no, we don't see Gurney Korak being drawn. It actually was Oniromancy, so there is that consistency tool there. Manahiri does draw Oniro here, and the great thing about Oniromancy is that it is an echo card, so we will be seeing it again in round 2.
Okay. Well, we get the Roderick out. The Vial and Cadaverine. Which one will he choose? He goes for Cadaverine, and
Yeah.
okay, that's an interesting choice there.
Yeah, I think at this point, Hold's just not going to be able to draw the Viper at all. So it has to just work with he's got. He's got the Eateron on board. He can make copies of whatever the opponent is doing as well. But I imagine at some point that Defender might come down on Aloka, and it will be difficult for Hold to, touch any of Aloka stuff. We do have the Neuromancy there from Aloka, so we are able to get the Gurnikora that way. But he also needs to find the. They also need to find the Arrakis Queen. That is the key card in this deck. It will be the one consuming the Gurnikora. And then we also do have that stratagem there, so it will be triggering the Death Wish. And down comes the Damien. Hope using their leader to copy the Thrive engines.
I would guess that's a viable way for him to try and stay close to Aloka as much as possible for this round and try to push into this a little bit. He does have his Purifying Hand with Sigriv, so he can deal with maybe the Defender if that comes down, but it's not really that important for him now, so it's gonna be interesting to see if he can still keep up. That Ring of Favor is still charging though, so that's gonna be a high tempo play for him if he decides to go. If he decides to use it. Let's see what happens.
You also have to remember Hold has Letho there in hand, ready to go, so they have the option of copying whatever Aloka is doing themselves. Looks like they might opt to take the Ring of Favor here and play it. They're still thinking about it.
There goes down the Fur card. And he does decide to go with Coop. And that Coop goes for another rodent, but the time is out. Oh my god, the time was out.
So the Viper does come on board. It eventually makes an appearance. Ideally, you do want it on the other side though, on your opponent's side, so you are able to copy it. But then again, there is that Letho in hand, so we are possibly able to get an extra copy of that Viper. So that now will go into the opponent's graveyard and it will be consuming the units in the graveyard.
So far, we have both players looking for very specific cards and they don't get them. And their entire play here is going out of the window, their entire strategy. So they're trying to do something different in order to keep up with their opponent, and actually you see them really taking their time between turns, really trying to think how they're going to deal with this situation, because they're both in a very difficult situation right now.
Yeah, I always believe that you should be taking as much time as possible in between turns. I know some people don't like ropers, but I think allowing yourself that time to think about every line of play that's possible, because when it comes to Gwent, there are a lot of lines of plays. There's a lot of combinations that you can go through. You have to look at the graveyard. You have to look at the deck. You have to think not just one turn ahead, but maybe 2, 3, 4 turns ahead, thinking about the next round, thinking about round 3. And that's a lot of thinking in the short space amount of time of the rope. So I'm a big believer in taking the rope, but I think maybe some people may not be into the rope.
No, you're absolutely right. This is a tournament. They're both of these contestants are competing right now, so they do need to take their time and think, and especially when you have like a specific game plan and you see that game plan going out the window, it's not very easy for you to just change up your tactics. You need to think about it, just like you said. You need to plan ahead and try to think, okay, this is the hand I have, how am I gonna use it?
Yeah, and unfortunately, we still haven't seen the Gurnikora come down yet from Aloka as well. So both players, their initial strategy has all fallen apart a little bit. And so both players now have to think outside the box and think, okay, how do I contest this round? Is round 1 important to win for me? And 9 times out of 10, yes, we have seen in Gwent that a lot of the time you do need to win round 1 and have round control, just so you can potentially bleed out key cards from your opponent. And you're still no Gurney. We haven't clicked that stratagem at all yet because there is no Ruckus Queen. And we do see Aloka take the pass. They do realize they're not going to be able to catch up here. And they're just playing into this round, potentially just losing more key cards. So the pass is taken there.
And a very important fact to acknowledge here is that Aloka passed and Hald won this on sorry, Hald won this on even. So that's even more important here because he has a free bleed situation here. I do feel, does he still have something here that can take advantage of? He does have Secret in hand, so he can possibly bleed long enough in order for those two Vipers to come out. But here's the Guernicora coming in hand for Aloka as well, and the Araka's Queen. Oh boy.
Yeah, so there is that danger there that if we do play into this round, again, the Guernicora and the Arrakis Queen is there. We don't have the stratagem anymore, but we still have the Abaya there, so we will be able to get a double Guernicora here if played. And if Aloka is able to hold on to that Oniromancy, we will be able to potentially play that Sabbath for round 3 if Aloka is able to take this round. But I imagine with that defender coming down on the board now, it's going to be difficult for Hald to actually answer any of the things that are going on Aloka's side.
Probably the only way for him to do that is use that assassination very early and maybe the joust afterwards. He does have also the optional secret, but that card has to wait until the Vipers come out, because without it, the Vipers are just gonna be doomed. Stay with that tag and then just go out of play, and he will lose 14 points in round 3, which are basically his only carryover value.
Yeah, it is a very tricky situation for Hald because I imagine you do want to try and take that Siegfried Purify as soon as you can, but as you mentioned, there are the Vipers that we are still waiting for them to come out. There are still 9 cards in the graveyard for Aloka, so waiting for those Vipers versus trying to purify that defender ASAP, it is a tough decision to make.
Okay, so that joust is being used defensively onto the defender, and here we go with the Araka's Queen. Aloka started to set up the Guernicoras.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's not much that Hald can do at this point in time. The crew won't be playing for much here because we do have that defender on the board. So not able to put spying on anything and also not able to get any death blow. And Hald takes the pass here saying, you know what, I know what's coming next. I know you're going to play the Abaya, but it is a little too late. We are going to see the Abaya come down, and I imagine that Arrakis Queen will get consumed as well. Oh, no, it doesn't get consumed. I believe that will come out with Sabbath in the next round anyway, so that can be consumed then.
I think the only chance Hald has here to have a benefit from this, oh, there we go with the Sabbath. If the Sabbath doesn't drop too quickly, I would say that the Vipers will probably just eat out the graveyard slowly for Aloka, but with that Sabbath in hand, I think those important Guernicoras and the Araka's Queen will come out early. Here we go, immediately opening up with the Sabbath. 2 Guernicoras on board, played perfectly at 21 points, and we have the Guernicoras ready to go. Oh, this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah, so you can see Aloka playing around the Damien there, putting it in the Ranger, so Damien can't actually click himself and activate the leader once again for Imposter, because that Imposter leader would be very important for Hald. But that has been denied by playing it on the range row. So there is that option. We do have the Siegfried there, so that could have been played to purify. But I think Hald may be waiting one more turn for that one. So there are a couple of control tools there. There is that, there we have the 2 Van Molenheim vampires that do lock if you play them in the range row. So that will answer the Guernicora. And there is only one purify from Aloka there, which is the Naglfar Taskmaster. Fortunately, Aloka also has drawn a brick here with the riders here.
Yeah, double riders were not a very good option there. Dandelion Pod wasn't feeling very happy, but we have now the Siegfried on board. Everything is purified.
Unfortunately, there is that these Gurnicoras are going to be playing for 8 points a turn, which is a whopping amount of points. These Gurnicoras need to get answered ASAP. Down comes the Van Mollahan Vampire, locking one of the Gurnicoras, denying 4 points a turn. But that does get unlocked, unfortunately.
Aloka just had the perfect hand. That is a fact. Still, Hald there can use one more lock to at least get that 4 point extra value from Aloka, but this is getting harder and harder. And oh, Hald actually just forfeits the game. Oh no.
Yeah, unfortunately, once the Gurnicoras come into play, there is not much you can do to stop those ladies boosting themselves by 4 points a turn. So GG to Aloka and Hald, and congratulations to Aloka for progressing to round 3.
Hald, thank you very much for being here. You had two very interesting games. First one with Syndicate, now with this. In all honesty, thank you very much for joining the tournament and giving this a go. Aloka, congratulations for getting past to the next round. We're going to be having the next draw for round 3 tomorrow. It's going to be at 5 p.m. CET, if I recall correctly. I'm going to post this somewhere, so we make a post on Twitter just to notify everyone. So, a few comments about what we have watched in these two games.
Yeah, I think that Viper list, if you don't draw the Viper when you need it, it can be a very difficult deck to pilot as well. I did experience this when I played it myself, but again, if you're able to execute the strategy, it definitely plays for a lot of points and it is a lot of carryover. But again, it depends if RNG is on your side. And unfortunately for today, it was not for Hald today. Couldn't find the Siegfried in that first game. That was very crucial. And also that RNG with the Vipers splitting themselves between the rows instead of all in one row. If we had that one extra Viper, Hald would have taken out that first game. It was a very close game against Reckless Flurry. But Aloka did have a lot of the answers in that first game to try and deny it as much as possible. But again, it just came down to RNG, and this is what a meme tournament is all about.
Exactly. Just one more Viper being on melee row or range row, it will just be 2 points extra for 7 points extra for Hald, and it will basically just give him the game. It was very unfortunate for him to watch. Doing all that effort, but hey, RNG is RNG. Sometimes you get rewarded, sometimes you don't get rewarded. And in game 2, both of the competitors, Aloka and Hald, had the opportunity there to go all crazy with their combos, and none of them got the cards they wanted, their key cards in round 1.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing. If you don't find the key cards that you need to execute the strategy of this deck, it can fall apart a little bit. You do have the chance of trying to execute the strategy in later rounds, as we did see from Aloka, seeing that Gurnikora strategy actually being executed in round 3. But if you can pull it off, it does play for a lot of points. And there is no round 4, so unfortunately, if you are able to get those points going, 8 points per turn is an insane amount of points, and there's not much you can do to stop it if you can't answer that defender.
Exactly. And the fact that Aloka didn't draw the Gurnikora earlier in round 1, maybe that would also be a very accidental strategy for Hald. Maybe I'm not saying this right, because in all sense, you can copy anything you want from your opponent. So it doesn't always have to be the Vipers. You can also get the Garnicoras, and in that situation it will also be very beneficial for how to maybe not go into the Viper strategy but going into the Garnicora strategy. And he got unlucky on both sides of the board. No Viper in his hand, and Aloka didn't have the Garnicora in hand. So that was very, very unlucky for him. But in all honesty, he did try his best, and he did try to go all the way until the end, trying to see his options going on the board and try to make the best plays possible.
Yeah, and as you've seen from the tournament, a lot of these decks do contain the Curse Scroll stratagem, and the reason being is that you rely on certain key cards, as we have been talking in the last few minutes, and if you just don't have them, then you aren't able to execute the strategy. And the reason that the Curse Scroll, normally you'd want to go on blue, we did see Hald take it on red, just hoping that they would be drawing the Viper, but unfortunately they did it. So sometimes it is dependent on what coin you take the deck on.
That was a very brave move to get that Viper on red coin, but hey, if he got the Viper in hand in round one, we might be talking about a very, very different game right now. All in all, it was a good series. I'm always the type of guy that hopes that we see all three games play out. Unfortunately, we only saw two games tonight. They were good games. I have a question for you specifically, Emil. You won today. How do you feel about it, and how do you feel about the next rounds?
Yeah, that happened for me last night. So I do forget that we're in a different time zone where it was actually this morning for you.
Yeah.
So thank you. Yeah, so I was very skeptical about the SY Golds deck, as you may or may not know. I was very skeptical of it. But as with Gwent, all you have to do is play the cards you are dealt with. So I just tried to think of strategies against what my opponents are. Obviously, this is an open deck list tournament. That's the beauty of it, and you can kind of try and see, if there's certain strategies. Okay, if I play these key cards in round one, what is my strategy? Is it imperative that I win round one? Do I need to bleed out round two? And I did find solutions with that SY only golds deck. So we eventually got there in the end. The Desert Brothers, I'm not a big fan of that deck either, only because we have the massive RNG from the Desert Brothers when you do get that Desert Rune, right? If you are able to get that, as you may have seen from my game, I did get a 2-point John Natalis. So that is not the best card that you could be getting, especially at a crucial moment in the tournament where I needed to win that game in order to actually go to I think it was actually my round 3 game. I think that was played in round 2. And it was very neck and neck, I must say. So if I was to get a big point slam card, there's a lot of legendaries out there. So if I was to get anything, that was maybe 5-6 points, maybe it spawns a card. I'm not sure what it would have given me. But that's the thing with the Desert Brothers. It will literally give you any card that's a legendary within the Gwent card pool. So I don't like that aspect of RNG. I did join a meme tournament, so it is expected. This isn't, a meta sort of tournament. It is a lot of fun though, I must say. But pulling out that John Natalis, round 2, I'm trying to bleed and I'm pulling out a 2-point card. Doesn't feel too good. But all in all, I was pretty happy with my performance today.
And you're facing, let me see, you're facing actually Crosano in the next round of the winners bracket in round 3, which is going to be an interesting matchup. I've seen a few of Crosano's plays. He's a good player, so I'm expecting a very, very nice and tough matchup between the two of you. I'm very, very excited about seeing that. Like I said, tomorrow we're gonna have the new draft picks. Games are going to be played over the span of next Thursday and Friday, most probably. So yeah, you have some time to prepare, and with the decks that you're gonna get drawn tomorrow. What
I
else
hope
do
I
we
get
have?
some good ones and nothing that's gonna
Well,
hopefully.
in my defense, tomorrow the draft will be in Peluchan's stream, so he's gonna be the one who does the clicking. So if you don't like the decks, it's his fault. You know who you're gonna send in DM tomorrow
Definitely be
morning.
sending a DM.
Yeah.
But
So
I'm very much looking forward to it. This has been a really great tournament so far. So thank you to you, El Polichon, Team Bandit Gang, Team Viper for putting on the tournament. And can't wait to see more games. I've been enjoying watching all the memes. People trying to execute these meme strategies because you don't get to see that on ladder very often, I must say. So this is very refreshing for me. So it has been a lot of fun to participate in.
yeah. Just one thing though, with the Desert Bros, we've been testing. I actually played a lot with that deck because I used it a lot when I was just having other decks play against, Team Banding Gang decks. I used that a lot specifically and I played 5 or 6 times. That Rune Rite and Dula combo, it always gave me something nice. It always gave me something that was like, oh yeah, okay, I can
Yeah,
use
well,
this.
that's for you.
And the funny thing is, I've never seen so far in this tournament. I don't know if I missed a game that actually happened, but I've never seen anyone trying the true combo of this deck, which is basically to play the treasure twice, like keeping the tainted ale on board, not to try to set up a couple of ones on your opponent's board, but basically using the tainted ale or one of the consume options in order to consume one of the brothers and then go renew and play it a second time in the same round in order to get two treasures. Nobody has done that so far, and I find that very interesting because that's the point of that deck. That's why it was created. But all in
You
all,
will not, you'll never see me try that because I'll
you
tell you
know.
why. Because I will do that and then I will get another 2 point
Yeah,
shooter.
and then probably you're gonna use a shotgun on me. Yeah, I know. So yeah, now that I think about it, it's probably better that you don't actually do that. Yeah, it would be better.
Interesting concept though. If someone is going to play that in the tournament, my hat's off to them, but there's no way I would try that. I think there's just too much RNG involved with the Desert Brothers, in my personal opinion. Again, it's gonna spawn a random legendary unit from any faction, so it's not even specific to one faction, so that could limit the pool. It's any, and if you look at what legendaries are in the Gwent deck builder, there's a lot of legendaries there. You could even pull out a scenario that has nothing to do with your faction. So
Exactly.
literally, you'll be playing a 13 for. Oh, it's not. Sorry, it's a unit. So you don't play. You don't play scenarios. But
Anything that goes there, it can be good, it can be bad. That's it. I mean, I still remember the game between Danny Rai and Eneren, and it was like 26-20 for Danny Rai, and the last thing that Eneren could do was just drop that treasure and actually try to get something good. And he got the 5 power brute. No value on it, no anything, just a 5-point slam. And the game ended at 26-25. And everybody, me and Erdem, who were casting, people in chat were like, come on, come
that's the thing.
on.
That's the thing. This is why I'm not a fan of the Desert Brothers. I also played one game off stream with it, and I managed to get a Forest Protector, but of course I don't have any nature cards in my graveyard. So there you go, 5-point body again. To me, it's just not worth it. And honestly, it just feels like bait. You play a 6, opponent will remove it, and then you just get another 6. Could try to use the renew, but honestly, I would rather just use the renew onto the glassy wall.
Yeah, exactly. That will be a much better option, especially if you can set up all those ones. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I think we're gonna be stopping the stream here. It was a great matchup to watch tonight, and Emil, thank you very much for joining me. I know it's very early in the morning for you. It's like what, 8:30 9:30 now a.m. there for you. And I know you woke up early for joining me here, so thank you very much for being here. It's always a pleasure, and I hope we do this more with both you, Melis, and Ertem, which I casted with all of you guys, and I must say I'm very, very happy that I have the opportunity to do this. We're gonna be having more information on matches coming tomorrow, most probably, because after the drafts are gonna be all done and set. All people will know their decks, and people will start setting up the matches. So hopefully we're gonna have some matches scheduled as early as possible. Maybe some of them are gonna be even tomorrow night. Definitely on Thursday, definitely on Friday. So it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great to have a chance to do this again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure to cast with you. I don't cast very often. This is probably the second time I've done it. Yesterday was the first time I've done it. So apologies if I stumble on my words, but I hope everyone enjoyed it. And again, thank you so much for having me, Pocus.
It's always a pleasure, and believe me, I stumbled a bit more than you. You were perfect. So let me just go quickly, very, very quickly, and see if anyone here is like live. And at this time, I'm not sure. Probably Moshcraft is gonna be live. He's always there. Oh, El Kelora is up. Okay, El Kelora is up. El Kelora gave me a raid the other day, so let's go treat him well right now. Turn the favor back to him. El Kelora is a very, very up and rising, very fast up and rising star in the Gwen community. He's consistently trying to reach top 64. He's been doing a great job, to be honest with you. He's been evolving into a very, very good player, and recently he joined TLG, right? So he's doing very well. He's doing a stream right now. Let's go say hello to him. Thank you very much for being here, everyone. Again, thank you, Emil. We will see you very soon. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. CET time, I'm going to be joining El Peluchon in his stream, and we're going to be doing the draft picks. And after that, hopefully at my normal time, not like today that everything happened, all the bad things happen at the same time. Hopefully tomorrow I'm gonna be streaming normally and plays and Gwent. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great evening, and I'll see you very soon. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.